So it is October 17th, and it's been getting pretty cold at night here in Michigan, down into the 40s, the lower 40s. And you can see that there is some water running out of this colony, as well as this colony over here. And many people would panic and be concerned about the water coming out of the colony, but that's exactly what we would expect to see. So we're running the insulated or condensing colonies or condensating colonies. There's a lot of people using different vernacular out there, but in essence we are just insulating the top. We do not ventilate, we do not have any upper entrances, we just have insulation. And what that looks like is this. So we have our telescoping cover, take that off, and then I usually just keep my queen excluders up here during the winter. That way I don't have to store them. I know where they're at when I super in the spring. And we got 2-inch foam insulation. This one happens to be the 250 psi, but that's not necessary. This is all they had at the time. You can get away with 150 psi, and it's actually a lot cheaper. I think this one's like $63 for 250, and I think the 150 is about $43. And then for some reason people are confused about the Reflectix versus inner cover. So this just sits right on top of our frames. So right there's our frames. The bees are right underneath there. There's the bees. And that's all we do. So we were just in these colonies a couple days ago to pull the apivar strips, and I know for a fact that there's frames are brood. For whatever reason they have their brood nest over here. I would love for it to be in the middle, but it's just too late and too cold for me to really move everything. So for whatever reason they have 2 brood frames in both these top box, or I'm sorry, in both the bottom box and the top box, which would explain this water. So they're trying to keep that area really warm, about 94 degrees, and so they're generating a lot of heat and metabolizing. And just like us, when we metabolize, when you exhale carbon dioxide and water. They're doing the same thing. And this outside box, the outside of this box is cold, especially at night, and so when they exhale, that water condenses on the outside like a cold pop can on a hot humid day, and that condensation collects on the inside, runs down, and lands on the bottom board. You can see that our hives are all angled slightly. I guess I can make the illusion by just tilting the camera, but you'll take my word for it. They're all angled forward so that water pools and runs out. And so ultimately in winter, I know we have a video on this, but I'll say it again, you're gonna have your cluster of bees. Generally they'll be in the middle, but that hot air is gonna rise. It's going to come up, it's gonna rise up, it's gonna come in contact with this insulated surface, which won't be cold. And then it's gonna have what they call a convection current, so it's gonna kind of mushroom, and that hot air is gonna go to the outside and then start to go back down as it cools. And you're gonna have this convection current that's constantly circulating. When the moist hot air comes in contact with something cold, which is gonna be the outside of this box, or the cold air that will be present at this entrance, it's gonna condense, and that's where we get this water. But the important thing is the water is not condensing up here. This is well insulated. This will be the same temperature as whatever the cluster in the box is generating, and so you might get a little bit of condensation, but not enough that's going to rain back down on your bees, which is what most people are concerned about. So we ran this same setup for a couple years now. Last year we overwintered 100%, so 40 out of 40 of our production colonies. We tried it with little mating nukes as well. We got 5 out of 9 of those through the winter, but they didn't die because of this setup. They died because they didn't have enough bees and they couldn't move. They were in singles, and once they got to the one side, they couldn't move to the honey, which was on the other side. So nothing against this setup at all, just too small of colonies going into the winter. But had a lot of people reaching out, so just wanted to do another video. This, like I said, there's a video posted already about this concept, but I guess it can't hurt to have 2. So that's all we do. It's a lot cheaper than those quilt boxes. I don't have to store anything. I leave the insulation on all summer long, just like you do in your house. You don't take the insulation out of your attic during the summer. You want to keep insulation all times. It prevents these telescoping covers get really hot. If you've ever touched one of these in the summer when it's 90 and sunny, man, it's not wanting to go on. There it goes. It gets really hot. But when it's insulated, that heat cannot be transferred into that top box. So they're able to better control the internal environment, which is what you want, and reduces our bearding, at least from what we can tell. This is that swarm that we caught a few weeks ago now. They have 2 frames of brood and about 3 or 4 frames of bees. You can see she's fanning. They do have syrup. There's some pollen still coming in. I am trickle feeding some syrup in there. We'll probably give them some honey frames, maybe move them to 5/5, but we'll see if we can get them through. But that's just an update for the 3 colonies in our backyard. Overall, they're up to weight and looking good. Still gotta get the Howell yard, Ada yard, and Kentwood yard all winterized, and obviously throw on our mouse guards. But that's what we'll be doing over the next few days. Winter is closing in. Good luck, everyone. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Good luck.